You may use any number you wish. I would prefer to express it like this in interval notation. Some textbooks will write as all real numbers. There's your domain. You're done. No restrictions. Give me number 2.
G of x equals x minus 3 over x squared minus 4.
Now, based on what we've done so far in this class, taking a close look, I would think maybe my students probably say, wait, Professor, I do see it might be wise to go ahead and factor, and we've done so much factoring in this class, x squared subtract 4, difference of squares, could be factored into that. Now, are there some x values that I cannot use here? And I gotta point them out. What are they?
Absolute value.
No, not absolute value.
Plus or minus 2.
Yeah, plus or minus how much? Plus or minus 2. If I try to replace x by 2 here, what happens down here, guys?
0.
I get a 0. And you never have a 0 denominator in a fraction. If I replace x by -2, would the same thing happen? Would I get another 0 here? So here, at this point, I'm saying here there is a restriction. X cannot be, here we go, those. Now, here's the issue. Since you're moving from me to Math 7, and Math 7 loves the interval notation. They're saying, of course, that's true. I can't count that wrong. But in interval notation, as we are moving to Math 7, I'd like to know, tell me somewhere, and I'm gonna do a little visual for you, give you an idea what I want. Right now, we're saying visually, and this is not sound analysis, guys, this is us visualizing. On a number line, we're saying -2, Professor, +2 cannot be used. That's what we're saying right now. Now, what can be used? All this can be used. All this can be used. This is not sound analysis. This is just a little visual of what's going on. All this can be used. Now, can someone tell me in interval notation with the blue, what's my domain?
Negative infinity.
Negative infinity up to
-2.
-2. Beautiful. In union, what now?
2 to infinity.
-2 up to 2.
Oh, -2.
Now be careful. In union,
And 2 to infinity.
2 through infinity. And there's your answer. Now, I know some of my students may not be, maybe quite, sometimes you've had some math, but it's shocking to say, Professor, when you say this, you're also really saying this. These two are saying the same thing. These two are saying the same thing. Okay, what was the number 3 there?
H of x
H of x, okay.
equals square root of 2x minus 1.
Square root of
2x
minus 1.
minus 1.
Nice. I want its domain. In other words, are there some x's or numbers I cannot let x be for some reason? And I'm standing here right now and I'll throw one at you. Could I replace x by 0 if I want to? No, if you replace x by 0, I think you end up with a -1 underneath there. You're into imaginary numbers, which we don't want. Could I replace x by, let's say, 6, if I wish? Yeah, because 2 times 6 is what, 12? And 12 minus 1 is 11, at least that's positive. So there's a square root of it somewhere. So some I can use, some I can't use. Does anyone have an idea, how can I find the ones I can use?
You can set it, is it greater than 0?
Okay, we know for a square root, we all know by now.
Set the radican equal to 0.
Yeah, that part that's underneath there. If you want to do a square root, that cannot be negative. In other words, you can't do this. Unless you want to do imaginary number. The number underneath there must represent a positive. So the best way to find your domain here is saying 2x minus 1, Professor, must be this. 2x minus 1 must be representing something positive, or it could be 0 itself, because there's a square root for 0. I didn't solve for x. If I solve for x here, guys, we'll really end up with, look at this, nice. I end up with that. If I made no mistake. Now if I ask you to put in interval notation, no problem, that's bracket, 1/2 through infinity.
Wait, it can't be just 1/2 though, right? 'Cause
Well, of
then-
course it can be 1/2. If you put 1/2 in there, 2 times 1/2 is 1. 1 subtract 1 gives me a 0. What's the square root of 0?
Zero.
Is there an answer? 0. So I could let x be 1/2. There's an answer. Okay. What's my third one? Or fourth one, I guess.
It's gonna be a p of x
Hanging out p of x
equals the square root of x over x squared minus 3x plus 2.
Oh, you're talking about now, we're moving on. We're moving on. Anyone just out of curiosity before I jump into it? Can anyone tell me an x value right quickly, just off the top of your mind there, head, that you cannot use?
Negative x.
Tell me again?
Negative x.
A negative number of some sort, -10, -5, -6. You can't place a negative underneath there. So I know my domain cannot include negative numbers. Are there some other numbers that maybe, I'm looking at it, that I can't let x be for some reason? I know I can't use negative numbers, they're out. Yes,
1 and
come again.
2. 1 and 2.
Okay, 1 or 2, try 1. Now, 1's okay up here, because square root 1 is 1. 1's fine up there. Now, what happens if I replace x by 1 down here? I get 1 squared, which is 1. Subtract 3 times 1, that's 3. So 1 subtract 3 is a -2. Plus 2, what do I get on the denominator? 0, you can never have a 0. So she's giving me now a positive number 1. She says, besides the negatives, Professor, you can't use them. You can't use 1 either. There's one more you can't use. I heard 2. Let's put a 2 in there. 2 squared is what, 4? 4 subtract 3 times 2 is what, 6? So 4 subtract 6 is a -2. Plus 2, 0, can't use it. Now that's me and with my students guessing, but we guessed correctly. They said, Professor, how can I really set this up and show the math behind it? Here we go. If they want the domain, I know and you know to begin with. On the top, that must be true. You can't take the square root of a negative number. So the x must be positive or it could be 0. Down here, from a previous lesson, we'll factor. X minus 2, x minus 1. Which quickly tells me, since it's down in my denominator, I cannot let x be 2. In fact, some students will actually split these up and do this just to make sure, to ensure they know what they're doing. They say, Professor, we've done work like this before. So you cannot let x be a 2 or a 1 because you end up with 0. Denominator. So guys, my domain right now at this point with all that said is this. X is greater than or equal to 0 for sure. That's the top part. But x cannot be 1 or 2. That's what it is right now. Now, though, I want this in interval notation. I want all my answers expressed in interval notation so you'll be ready for math 7. Now, here goes the visual. It's not sign analysis. You're saying, visually, that first, everything to the right of 0, as we'll do it like this, is okay. X is greater than or equal to 0, mark like that. That takes care of that. At the same time, you're saying what? X cannot be what? 1 or 2. So that means when you reach 1, Professor, you can't use it. When you reach 2 out here, you can't use it. Now, can someone tell me, it's broken up now. Tell me in interval notation, what is my domain? Go for it.
So bracket 0,
Bracket 0 up to
1,
1,
parentheses.
open, union,
Union, what is that? 2, I mean 1 to 2,
1 to 2, both open.
both
I want. There's your domain. There's your domain. Nice. What's my next example?
N of x
Okay, I got number 5. N of x.
equals the square root of 16 minus x squared.
Oh, just that. Beautiful. Oh, this handout's nice. Just a square root. Now, what do I know about a square root? You can't do a square root unless all this represents a positive, or it could be 0, number. You can never let that be negative. So translate means that this part here must be, to make sense here, that. That's where you start. The part underneath there must be that. Now, go back a couple days ago, maybe just a day ago, this will factor. And we'll factor this in the order you see it. It factors. Now, can someone tell me what might you use that we've used here in class to finish this thing up? You want to solve that inequality. That's like what you might see on the quiz tonight. I'm at the point now where it looks like something maybe you'll see on the quiz tonight. What are you going to do here? You're going to use sign analysis to finish it up. You're going to split these up. Say, Professor, I need my points to work with, my critical points, let's call them. And here I'm going to end up with x is equal to 4. If I move things around. And here x is equal to a negative 4. And you will go to a number line. Now, guys, this is sign analysis. So I got negative 4, 4. I see the equals mark, which says I may include those. Mark them in. And then what does sign analysis, as we will see shortly when you start taking the quiz, ask you to do? Test. So test to the left, in between, to the right. Guys, to the left, I'm going to try maybe a negative 6. In between, we'll try 0, I am. Out to the right, we'll try 10. Here goes. Now, where are you going to test? Right here. And I do not need to see the numbers. I don't need to see the numbers on the quiz tonight. If you replace by a negative 6 right here, 4 subtract a negative 6 turns into 4 plus 6, which is 10. 10 is positive. I need to see that. 4 plus a negative 6 on the second factor is a negative 2. All I need to see is the sign, because sign analysis, negative. I'll come back to it. Oh, by the way, I know all that together is negative. Trying 0 here. 4 subtract 0, 4, positive. 4 plus 0, 4, positive. Of course, get a positive. Out to the right, I'm trying 10. 4 subtract 10 is a negative 6, negative. And 4 plus 10 is 14, positive. That's a negative. Now tell me, which of those should I shade in to show, based on your sign analysis, that satisfies this inequality? Where should I shade? The ones that came out to be what? Positive, where the 0 implies positive. So which ones came out to be positive? Oh, only one. This one is the only interval that came out to be positive. Therefore, that's my answer. So my answer up here for domain, here's my final answer after all that. Bracket, negative 4, up to 4, bracket. Done. Finished. Okay. Wow, making sense? Give me the next one.
R of x
Okay, hang on one second. Number 6. R of x equals?
the square root of x over x minus 5.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Like that. And they want the domain. The complete domain. Can someone tell me what just barely observing right now without any math. What can x not be? Five. That would make it zero denominator. But there may be other restrictions, that's why I gotta set this thing up. By the way, is that x over x minus five all underneath that square root? Beautiful. That means, for this thing to make sense, that, all that, since it's underneath there, must be that, or I cannot do a square root on it. That's my first step. Now, second step, I need to solve that inequality. Now, glad this came up. Does anyone have an idea of how you want to solve x over x minus five greater than or equal to zero?
Split the numerator and denominator and so.
Doing good. Look at the numerator and denominator, I agree with you there. And what are you gonna do?
Set them both equal to zero.
Set them equal to zero, and then do,
Sign it out.
you're gonna use sign out. You're gonna get critical points on this one. And to get the critical points on this one, just like I got critical points on this one, critical points on this one by merely looking at it. He's telling me there, he says, Professor, if you look at the top, x, set equal to zero, you get zero. Take the bottom part, denominator, x subtract five, set equal to zero, like I was doing here. You get another, critical number, five. I notice that equals mark that says they could be included in this process. Spin that down some. And then all I need to do is very simply let test. See what works. Out to the left of zero, in between, here. I got -1, I'm testing. I'm gonna try 2 here in between. I'm gonna try an 8 here. Now guys, when you start the quiz tonight, you gotta show me those test numbers. Or you lose some points. Now test, here we go. I said, Professor, where are you gonna test? I'm gonna test right here. Now I'm gonna try 1. If I put x to be a 1 here, it's positive. In my denominator, replace x by 1. 1 subtract 5 is a -4. That's a negative. And what is a positive over a negative always? Negative. In between, I'm trying a 2. Replace x on top there by 2 in the numerator, positive. Denominator, 2 subtract 5 is a -3, so that's going to give you a negative. And guys, I got positive over a negative, I get a negative here. Are you kidding? Did I make a mistake? I'm on top of the board. Did I make a mistake?
Supposed to be -1.
Yeah, you used one.
Let's go back. Was it negative, positive? I tried positive. Should this be a -1? Well, of course. So a -1. -1 here. Then -1 subtract 5, what's it, -6? Got a negative. So guys, it's what? A negative over a negative here. Should that be a positive? Yeah. Now in between 2, I'm looking at 2, I'm right on top of the board there. 2 looks like it's a positive over a negative, it works. 8, positive here, numerator. 8 subtract 5, positive 3, if I did that correctly. So that's a positive. Is that all good? I think, by testing. Now, what am I looking for? I'm looking for the part that satisfies this. Positive. Greater than 0 implies positive. So where did we get a positive? It looks like over here, let me shade in. That's where I was not careful enough at first, testing a -1. Positive also out here, to the right of 5. Are those the only 2 intervals that came out to be positive? Therefore, my domain, just based on that, a little strange here, would be a negative infinity up to what? 0, bracket, union, bracket, 5 to infinity. And you're done. Is that making sense? Are we finished with that page? Oh, we have a question.
You marked 5 as included, but if you make x is 5, it's going to be divided.
I got, good, oh, I am losing it, I'm losing it here at the end. He says, Professor, you can't use 5. You said that, Professor, to begin with, and I'll say, darken it in, thank you. He said, wait. He says, you said, Professor, 5 can't be used. It would make a zero denominator, so that means you better go down here and not put a bracket. It's gotta be a parenthesis. Wow, nice. Let me just move here at the end. Okay, now, did we have more to do on that, or was that it?
We have one more.
One more, then we'll start this quiz. Okay, what's the next one?
G of x
Okay, hang on, number 7, g of x,
equals
okay?
the square root of x squared minus 2x minus 15.
Just that. Okay. Let me check, I gotta check, I'm fresh for time here. Okay. Could we save this one till tomorrow? Cause I won't give you enough time for this quiz. That's why I'm gonna play with you. Are we okay then?